Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. It's a good crowd for a rainy August evening. As Madam Mayor takes her seat, I would like to welcome each of you to tonight's Cabinet in the Community in Council District 9. All of the folks in the room who are part of the Council District, please put your hands together and clap. Give yourselves a round of applause. My name is Gus Augustus, and I will be serving as moderator tonight. I have an easy job, and that is basically to hand the microphone or the forum over to Madam Mayor and to Councilman Welch. We had a full day today, Madam Mayor and Councilman Welch, in the 9th District. We had lunch I'll let the mayor talk more about it, but we visited some of the businesses, some of the facilities for youth. Pastor Pierce, the pastor of this great establishment, won't you put your hands together and give him a round of applause. I'm going to ask Pastor Pierce to just give us a welcome on behalf of the church family here at Carter Memorial Coaching.
God bless each of you. Welcome to Carter Memorial Church. We're the church in the heart of the city with the city in its heart. Welcome to our living room. We're impacting lives so abundant living, and how fitting that you're here tonight. Since the inception of this ministry, we've been in this community from 1906. West Lexington Street, 745. West Fayette Street, and here we are, 13 South Compton. We've been in this facility about 6 months now, and so we're just delighted that you're here. Isn't it beautiful? Our present with you, Mayor Stephanie Robbins Blake, and your cabinet. Thank you. This is not your first time here, so we welcome you. And make yourself at home tonight. God bless you.
Interesting, Pastor. I didn't know that I would be standing actually at the pulpit, but amen, everybody. For those of you who are not aware of what Cabinet in the Community is, Cabinet in the Community is actually an opportunity for Mayor Rawlings Blake to bring members of her cabinet and the most important guest in the room, that is you, the residents, together in a council district to talk about the exciting things that are going on in your particular district. We're talking tonight about issues, programs, initiatives, and the like that have occurred recently in your district, as well as those that are pending, and also discuss those initiatives, programs, and projects that are in the near future. It's also an opportunity for you to put a face to a name, to an agency in your city. And so, without further ado, I would like to present to you your mayor, our mayor, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake.
Thanks. I'll do the rest of the meeting from down there, but I do want to start. I want to thank all of you for coming out this evening. I want to thank Pastor Pierce and your beautiful First Lady. Where did you go? There you are. Thank you so much for hosting us this evening. It's a beautiful, beautiful church, and I'm grateful to be able to be here again. I want to thank Councilman Welch. He has been with me all afternoon as we have toured the district and got a lot of good information, seeing the good things that are going on. I'm going to be very brief because I really know that, yes, we were going to talk about the things different agencies are doing in the district, but then we're going to have the breakout sessions, which I think are the most important part of this. I want to thank all the members of my cabinet who are here in the front, the members of my team who are here in the audience. They are very responsive and committed team, and I want to thank them for their commitment to being here. I want to thank Dr. Jay Perman, University of Maryland, Baltimore. He's been very helpful in our efforts to make progress in the university, and I won't do my big C for the CN University because it's the university and the city partnership, and we've made such great progress. We still have a lot more work to do, but I think because of our partnership, people see that there's hope, and that there's a possibility for some of the intractable problems to get solved. So I want to thank you for that. And it really helps my goal of growing the city. In order to grow our city, yes, we have to attract new residents, but we could grow the city if we could just keep the people who are here in Baltimore and stop the trend of people moving out of the city. So part of this, the work that I'm doing with the Public Safety Forum, the partnerships we developed is about giving people more reasons to want to stay in Baltimore. In order to do that, we know we have to reduce violence, to build better schools, and to make our city cleaner. And we've done a lot. I talked about the public safety forums that have been all over the city during the public safety forums. Even did one just specifically focused on youth and giving them an opportunity to voice their concerns. And when you think about the recent events in Ferguson, you know that you can't do this type of work after the fact. You have to put in the time beforehand to be in a relationship with the community. I'm very grateful because, we can show up, but if the community is not there to have the dialogues, to give us an opportunity to partner, to grow, and to be better together, we're not going to reach our goals. So I want to thank you for that. And I also wanted to acknowledge the partners and the progress we've made with the $1.1 billion school construction investment that is coming to Baltimore. That has the potential to transform neighborhoods and help our young people for generations to come. I'm also pleased about the remaining commitment, the continuous commitment to making our city cleaner. I'm sitting at the table next to Mr. Chow, who must not ever sleep or do anything other than work. We've rolled out mechanical street sweeping throughout all the neighborhoods around the city. We saw it work in commercial districts and wanted to bring it to neighborhoods. We did that. They even let me drive an alley sweeper yesterday. Well, thank you very much. Yes, I appreciated the opportunity. I almost rarely went and took it on a joyride, but it was, the alley sweep program in the, I think it's 14 pilot communities, and with our goal of having a cleaner and healthier city. So we are making a lot of progress, as well as we're making progress eliminating blight in our city. Our Vegas to Value initiative, Blight Elimination Plan, has received national and international acclaim for its innovative approach to an urban problem. So tonight's meeting, I'm going to call upon members of my cabinet to provide reports on their work in the district, so you can hear directly from them what they're doing. And we're going to hopefully have a chance to take a few questions here, and then the follow-up, the remainder of the questions will be taken during the breakout sessions. And again, I want to thank all the community members, community leaders who've been a partner in all the work that we're doing for being here. And with that, I want to give Councilman Welch an opportunity to say a few words, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Councilman Welch.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My mother told me that the best talks and speeches are the shortest, so I'm not going to be long. But today the mayor visited our district, and some of the things that we saw were quite interesting. We visited Vivian T. Thomas High School, which is a medical arts high school, and they have a dental program in that high school. And when I went to visit them for the first time, I expected to see maybe a Petri dish, maybe a short screen TV. But they have the same dental equipment that I saw at the University of Maryland Dental School. And since they do, the University of Maryland Dental School will be partnering with Vivian T. Thomas in their dental program, bringing much-needed dental services into our district, available free of charge to residents in this district. We also visited a number of local businesses. One I'll point out is Food Depot. And each one of those businesses is committed to hiring our young people, especially Food Depot, who had, up to this point, has a relatively high turnover rate. The Mayor's Office of Youth Employment is sending their applicants to the store to take and fill those positions. And I welcome your families to send your students and your children to the store for those positions as well. Our children have the necessary technical skills, but it's important that they develop social skills as well, because that's what's going to advance their careers. Anyone can have technical skills, but it's the social skills that are going to make a difference. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the visit, but it was a very productive visit. Our mayor liked what she saw in our district, and the potential is enormous. So enjoy the information you're going to receive today. It's going to be enormous, and I will visit as many of you as I can in the regular sessions. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this session. Thank you.
And so let us get down to business, Baltimore. City Council District number what? City Council District number. Have you heard about the exciting things that are happening in your district? We're talking about kids being connected with a dental school right here in your district. You ought to give your district and yourselves a round of applause. We have members of the entire mayor's cabinet here with us tonight. There are several presentations that will be made, and each presentation we will have an opportunity for you to ask a question. There are three things I would like to mention before we go directly into the segments. There are two gentlemen holding microphones in the rear of the church. On my left, your right, his name is Christian Song. He will be holding a microphone for those of you who would like to ask a question during one of the segments. And on my right, your left, we have Mr. Larry Nunley, who will be holding a microphone. All we're asking is that you raise your hand, and that the hand you raise is raised because you would like to pose a question about that particular segment. Let me give you an example. If we're talking about issues centered around housing, you would raise your hand during that segment, and your question would be related to what? Wow, very good. Pastor Pierce, you have excellent congregation. I'm on the team, son. We're just trying to lighten up. It's August the 20th, and we are here to get the ball rolling. The agencies that will be presenting tonight will be directed by the mayor, but I'd just like to give a highlight heads up to those who are due to present. They are first DPW, that is the Department of Public Works. Secondly, housing. Third will be police. Last we will also have, including a presentation from 311. That is the city's CSR, that is the city's service request system. And so I'm handing it now over to Madam Mayor, and you can certainly conduct your meeting as you wish.
Thank you very much, guys. First, I'm going to turn to Director Chow for a report from DPW.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, and good evening, Councilman as well. It's always exciting to be the first speaker, I guess, on the panel. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here in the 9th District. This evening, I will provide the residents of the 9th District with information about how DPW operates in your neighborhood. As the mayor mentioned about the newly rolled out alley sweeping program, I would like to inform you that residents invest the resources valued at nearly $50 million in the 9th District. We are transforming our operation to become more proactive, from much-needed water and sewer reconstruction to street and alley cleaning and property maintenance. The DPW community liaisons have attended more than 40 community meetings and events in the 9th District to inform the residents and community leaders of any upcoming water and sewer construction projects. In general, we conduct various educational presentations in neighborhood schools and present information about DPW and our services as part of a resource fair. We discuss water bills and related service issues, as well as information on illegal dumping, recycling, and street sweeping, as well as general solid waste matters. We have worked to communicate ways to help keep the community cleaner and healthier. At this time, I'd like to share some highlights of DPW's work completed in the district over the last 12 months. In the areas of alley cleaning and property management, before this week is out, DPW crews will have cleaned dozens of alleys and streets in our ongoing effort to combat illegal dumping, thus leading to a better handle and management over the rat population problem we have here in the city. Over the past year, we completed some 5,585 rat eradication efforts in the 9th District. We completed 3,367 scheduled bulk trash removal requests. In addition, DPW was able to mow 3,462 lots in the 9th District, again utilizing our proactive efforts and approach. This proactive mowing of lots helped reduce illegal dumping and provide clean, safe, and green spaces for the residents. In the areas of water and wastewater, as you know, tougher federal and state regulations are forcing the city to improve its storm drain system, especially the quality of water that washes our streets and paved walkway into our streams. Over the past 12 months, we addressed 68 service requests related to stormwater mains. Producing clean and safe drinking water and returning wastewater after proper treatment back to the environment is perhaps our most critical function. Last year in the 9th District, DPW performed 777 water investigations. In the areas of construction, our aging infrastructure has created a challenge of its own. The city is required by the state as well as the federal government to upgrade our sewer system, and we are continuing our efforts to complete this huge task. This district has several sewer projects that are under design or under construction. We can certainly discuss them in the breakout sessions in more details. As mentioned earlier, our community liaisons are keeping the citizens informed and updated on these projects. In closing, Madam Mayor, I look forward to working with you, Councilman Welch, and the residents of the 9th District to make our city a cleaner, healthier place to live. The Department of Public Works is committed to serving the citizens of Baltimore and fulfill your vision of growing the city by 10,000 families over the next decade. Again, I urge 9th District to see me or my staff during the breakout session. We'd love to answer any question you might have. Thank you.
Testing.
I turned it off. Thank you very much, Director Chow. You answered all the questions I had. And then, Councilman, did you have any questions for the director?
I just have one comment. The mayor made a comment that Rudy Child never sleeps, and it's true, because I call Rudy at home 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and he picks up the phone, and within an hour, his crew is on site with the complaint that I got on my cell phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. So it does work, and it works well, and I thank you, Rudy, for what you do.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Anyone would like to, I see one hand. Any other hands regarding DPW? I see, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I think we have time for one for each section, and then we'll do the rest in the breakout.
Cool. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we have time, gentlemen over on the far right. I saw your hand up since the microphone is there. That's
I just want to make it clear to everyone, we're going to do one question per
He's standing, Larry.
per department, and then the rest of them we'll be able to address during the breakout sessions in more detail.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I just ask that everyone, the rule is that you give us your name, your question, and then an opportunity for the mayor or a member of the cabinet to answer. Also, I just would like to make a very important announcement. Those of you who parked at the BioPark parking garage, you are eligible for free parking. All that we ask is those of you who are parked there that you would take your ticket out. Hopefully it doesn't look like this. And right on the back, CITC Carter Memorial. CITC Carter Memorial. And they will know that you have attended this meeting. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Robert Hunt. I'm the president of the Alliance for Rosemont Community Organizations. Mr. Chow, you made a statement about all the complaints that have been closed. I had, matter of fact, Councilman Welch knows there's 3 that still hasn't been closed in my community, and we've been having problems over 2 years trying to get them closed. One is a lot that has been overgrown, and some people have been dumping there, and it's a house that has overgrowth, and it's starting to go up on the telephone line. Can you explain, and when I called to check up on, they said they closed them out. So this is the kind of things that we get when we make complaints, and it's not satisfactory.
Well, first of all, I mean, if you don't mind, maybe you can see us in the breakout session so I can get those specific locations so we can follow up with you to find out exactly what happened. And you are absolutely correct. If the lot is not properly cleared, the ticket should not have been closed out, but we need to look into the matter, certainly.
Now, I would also ask, I know that we have a staff member here from 311. We have to make sure we close the loop on that, because one of the things that's important and something that we continue to strive to do is make sure that when it says close, it's actually closed. And when you have different agencies that have to interact with each other in order to close a service request, sometimes close doesn't mean close. And we're trying to look for those areas where someone completes their part of it, but it's not completely done and it shows up as closed. So we need to close the loop on this issue, because it shouldn't be in the system as closed. All right. Thank you very much, sir. I didn't see where you went. For the question, I am going to go to Commissioner Graziano for housing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening to everyone, and great to be in the 9th District. And Councilman Welch, always a pleasure to work with you in collaboration on so many different things. I'd like to talk broadly about the initiatives that we have and ongoing efforts. They fall into about half a dozen categories. One would be the Vacancy to Value program that the mayor mentioned, and that is an initiative that the mayor and I announced the end of 2010, and we've made considerable progress over the last 4 years. It was really at the mayor's directive that we, instead of having a piecemeal approach to addressing blight and abandonment, that we have a comprehensive program. And so what we have is a 7-pronged strategy to address blight, and it's one that is very much driven by the numbers and driven by an understanding of market conditions from neighborhood to neighborhood. And we understand, we've realized, perhaps through trial and error, but we've learned a lot, and we've learned that you can't use all the same tools in every place. There's very different conditions from one neighborhood to another, sometimes a few blocks one way or another, as the councilman and the mayor certainly know, and as you all know. So let me just go through some of the progress we've made in the Land Resources Division, which is the division that buys and sells our property, city-owned property. We have sold 43 vacant structures and 39 vacant lots. I'm very, very excited to say that we have 226 lots that have been adopted by communities in this district under the Adopt a Lot program, and those have been turned from blight to green oases in these communities, and I think they're great community organizing efforts. They're wonderful blight elimination, and they provide produce and good nutrition for communities throughout the district. So that's one very important piece of our activity. We also have some properties that are on our vacancy to value surplus sale, including 31 South Payson and 1511 Ashburton Street. So I hope you'll look at those. The code enforcement is a very critical part of vacancy to value. One of the things we've learned is that we have a very powerful tool there, and thanks to the work of the City Council giving us $900 citation power for vacant and abandoned property, and the $250 citation for other violations, we're able to really focus on these in an efficient way. It's comparable to a parking ticket. Instead of having to go to court and prosecute every single case, we can focus on the toughest cases and use the citations as the tool for others. And we have 2 neighborhoods in the district that use the streamlined code enforcement, Bridgeview Green Lawn and Evergreen Lawn, and there are 70 vacant properties in those 2 neighborhoods that we're committed to addressing one by one. We'll get those done. And if there are other neighborhoods, Mr. Councilman, that you'd like to have us look at, we can as well. In terms of some of the other work we have in the vacancy to value code enforcement, we have about a half a dozen what we call community development cluster areas where we use our receivership tool. We go to court, and we, if the owner is unwilling or refuses to address a long-term vacant property, we'll go to court, get a judge to auction off the property to someone who will actually get it renovated and brought back into use. So we have several of those community development clusters. There's a total of 103 vacant properties that were there, and our goal is 100% of those will be addressed. They are Midtown Edmondson, Poppleton, 1600 Pratt, Union Square, Hollins Market, and 1900 Fairmont. So those are areas where we won't stop until we have 100% of the vacant properties back into fully rehabbed and fully occupied. Now, in some cases, rehab doesn't make sense. It's not economically feasible. The market won't support it. So we got a demolition tool, and the mayor has quadrupled, 4-fold increase in the funds for demolition over the next 10 years. So we'll be spending over $150 million between the mayor's commitment of $100 million and then other sources for demolition of over 4,000 properties in the city. In this district, we have right now, in just the first phase of this, 10 blocks that are for whole block demolition. 500 North Schroeder, 300 South Franklintown, 600 North Franklintown, 300 Stinson Street, the unit block of North Payson, the 1900 block of West Fairmount, the 2400 block of West Lombard, West Fayette and North Gilmore, that intersection, also West Landvale and North Gilmore, and the 1000 block of North Stricker. So all of those blocks will be demolished in the next year. So I'm sure we'll have a number of events out there, Mr. Councilman, with you and the mayor and the community folks. Very, very important activity. We've seen over the past year 130 vacant structures that have been renovated, another 200 are under construction, and 68 properties are either in receivership already through that court process or moving to receivership. So I'm very, very excited about our progress in the neighborhoods of this district. I know there's obviously much more to do, but we're committed for the long haul. In terms of efforts around green, healthy, and sustainable homes, we have close to $4 million that has been committed over the last several years to assist 530 households in your district, Mr. Councilman. That includes weatherization of 422 homes, This is very important. This just sounds like, okay, this is just a number, but the average utility bill will be reduced by $432 for each household where we're going, their annual bill. And that is already happening and it will continue over the foreseeable future. Housing rehab programs, 57 homes have seen health and safety and code improvements, lead abatement, very, very important, and then the BHIP program that the mayor and I announced about a year ago, we're seeing tremendous interest in buying homes as well. Just moving on quickly, there's over 700 properties and major redevelopment housing projects underway in the district. A lot of them are right around the University of Maryland Biopark area, as you know. There's just a tremendous resurgence of interest in those areas. In terms of the community service areas, we have 24/7 emergency response and intervention in people in crisis, fires, floods, you name it. Also the summer food program for our children. The Housing Authority, to wrap it up here, we have a number of developments in this neighborhood. We have put close to $20 million in rehab in the last few years, and we will be putting about $30 million into Rosemont Towers and Holland's House through a new innovative program that we're working on with the federal government and also utilizing private capital. So we got a lot that's going on, lots that's been done, and a lot more that that's on the planning board, slate there. So I look forward to it.
Thank you very much. Councilman, do you have a question for the commissioner? So the one question I have, just for clarification, you talked about the whole block demolition that
Yes.
was planned within the next 12 months. What happens after the block is demolished?
We have Madam Mayor, what we've done is we've carefully selected blocks where we could do the minimum amount of displacement, and usually they're either totally vacant or there's one or two folks who are stranded there in a block surrounded by blights. We want to get them out of harm's way first and get them into a very nice home in an alternative block. Then once they're out, we do the demolition, and we have money dedicated in each of these demolition projects to greening the parcels. So at a minimum, there's a basic greening program, and then beyond that, as I mentioned, well over 200 lots have been adopted by communities in the district, so I expect there'll be a lot more of that as well. And then over time, we will look at these parcels, and somewhere down the road, some of them will no doubt see other development activity. But in the meantime, they will be cleared of blight, and they'll be greened, and very likely become community gardens of some sort in many cases.
Thank you. We'll go to the audience for one housing question. Well, you have to wait till there's a microphone, and
Let's get you
we're
a
going to
mic.
let Gus pick he has a better viewpoint, so we're going to let Gus pick one person for the question.
So he had his hand up first. Many of you may know this gentleman in the 9th District. His name is Reverend Willie Ray, who has a concise question regarding housing.
Yes, thank you, Brother Gus. First of all, I want to applaud the mayor for having this in his lovely edifice, the church. Most of you know for the last 45 years I've been the advocate for Stop the Violence and Save Our Young People. My concern to Commissioner, I worry him and Reggie, about the faith-based community partnering with this plan, this wonderful plan that the mayor has. Mm-hmm. What wheels did you have other than starting off in a lovely edifice to get clergy involved with this process?
Well, there's a number of ways in which the clergy can and the faith-based community can be involved. About a year or so ago, we did a seminar with the Enterprise folks where they brought in faith-based folks from all around the city, and they talked about ways in which they could partner up with private developers and nonprofits and so forth to become a part of the development initiatives that are in this city. And in fact, there are some number of our faith-based organizations that are actively involved in development activity at this time. There are others who are looking to partner up with, it's always best to partner up with an experienced developer in that fashion. Also, just the basic community organizing efforts and on-the-ground efforts that we see the clergy of all denominations involved in. Cleanup efforts, community gardens I mentioned. We have a number of our meals programs. I know Deputy Commissioner Schreiber is here, has been working with a number of the faith-based organizations to place meals programs in their facilities to expand the number of locations. There's so many ways in which you can do that. Another thing that we've been sort of kicking around and haven't really gone big time with yet is, I see Deputy Ken Strong here. We have a Live Near Your Work program where we work with organizations who provide incentives for their folks to buy a house near where they work. So we kind of kick around the idea, how about live where you worship, okay? Because there are a lot of folks who might come in on the weekend to go back to their church or other religious institution. They may have left the community, but maybe they can come back. Maybe we can work to get some of that vacant housing around the various institutions rehabbed and parishioners coming back. So I think there are a lot of different ways in which that we're already seeing and others that we could look to expand upon. So we'd be happy to talk to you about that. Well, thank you, Reverend Ray.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We are now going to go to Police Department. Commissioner Batts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilman Welch, my report is as follows. As it relates to the city overall dealing with crime, we have crime reductions in every category, dealing from homicide to rape to aggravated assault, burglaries, larcenies, auto thefts, etc. for the city as a whole. Total violent crime is down 15%, total property crime is down 7%, total Part 1 crime down 9% for the city. Dealing with Council District number 9, I'd like to very quickly introduce the Lieutenant Colonel who oversees this area or region, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Miller. Present also here is Major Jim Hanley. From the Southwest, Major Osborne Robinson and Captain Bauer from the Western, and Captain Hance from the Southern. This area is made up, the makeup of this area is called the Tri-District. We've had a number of challenges in our Area 3 under Lieutenant Colonel Miller. We've been struggling a little bit this year with the Southwest, but Major Hanley has responded very quickly. The Western District itself last year led the league in violence for our city as a whole. It kind of drove our violent rate throughout our city. This year, our Western District is dramatically down under the command of Major Robinson and Captain Hance with Major Ian Dombrowski are doing a good job in the Southern as a whole. Some of the highlights that I want to go over very quickly for Council District 9 is that the Western District reports to me that they're focusing highly on quality of life, addressing narcotics. I am very aware that we have challenges here. I was at a couple meetings last night and a couple last week. We are responding in kind to address the concerns. The Western District reports that they have a very good working relationship with Campbell's Corner and Mrs. Campbell as they work very well together. They also want to tout the fact that they have a great collaboration and relationship with the Roots Project, Good Times, and the Club International as we move forward to address crime in the area. I do know that there is a level of concern with liquor stores that take place within our Western District, and we are working with other city entities to address and respond to that. Southwest District reports that they're doing very well in the Norman Court Public Housing Complex. They have made several arrests of known suspects that have been charged with narcotics distribution. The guys are working very well with the Southwest area where we've asked the Parks and Recs to partner with us in bringing out what Parks and Rec calls the fun wagon. We're going to change that name to like Tactical Child Wagon or something. But the Parks and Rec call it the Fun Wagon. What we're trying to do is change how we as a police department interact with the young people within our community. What we do with the Fun Wagon is we go out to a neighborhood that may have been impacted by challenges, and we take the officers out of the police cars, take them out of uniform, put them in t-shirts and jeans, and have them start interacting with the kids of that neighborhood to change the relationships that we have, to build stronger relationships in those neighborhoods. In addition to that, we started what we call an Explorer Camp, where we pick up kids from 9 different districts, take them to our police academy, and we start off by providing those young people with breakfast at our police academy. We provide them with free t-shirts. We are focused on character building. We're also focused on them doing athletics. So athletics is the hook to get them in. Character building is the focus. Not only breakfast, but also lunch too at the same time. And I have to applaud the Parks and Recs because they helped us as we push forward. So as you see throughout the city, not only in the Western and the Southwest, is that we're focusing on our relationship with children, as well as dropping the crime rate throughout the city. Southwest also further reports that they are focusing on the Winchester Improvement Association. They show to date that they have seen a 120% reduction in burglaries. They show that 100% reduction in larcenies and auto theft. They also show a 28% reduction in auto thefts as a whole. In the Franklintown Neighborhood Improvement Association, during the fall, we have been focused on robberies in the Poplar Grove area. Responding to that, there's been a number of arrests there of a positive nature, and we're working with a number of other, I won't go through all of them, the homeowners associations. In the Southern District, in Council District 9, a portion of the Southern District, violent crime has decreased 60%. In the Beret Circle neighborhood, violent crime has reduced 46%. In the Mount Clair neighborhood area, violent crime has reduced 35%. And there has been a 7% decrease in violent crime in Pigtown. Now, I have to share with Pigtown, and you heard me rant off a lot of numbers there. And whether I'm dealing with crime within the city or crime within the neighborhoods, those are just numbers. I do know that our focus is not just dealing with the output of numbers, but we're also focusing on the outcome and the perception of safety. In those areas where we may have prostitution, loitering around liquor stores or other areas, we're having a very focused approach of responding to addressing things that impact the perception of crime as a whole. Within the Western District, we have taken off 107 weapons this year, Southwest 84 weapons, and in the Southern 113 weapons as a whole. As far as clearing criminal offenses that take place, normally in a city where you have 500,000 people, the clearance rate is about 50%. The Western District, as it deals with violent crime, shows a 53.6% clearance rate, which is good. The Southwest District shows a 43.8% reduction. Hanley, get that up. And in the Southern District, it shows a 60% reduction. Madam Mayor, that's my report. I stand ready for any questions.
I'm going to go straight to the community, and Gus, if you could pick a community member for a question, you have a better viewpoint.
Gentleman having his hand up where we have the microphone. Hold your hand up, sir. Name, question, and then we're handing it back over to Madam Mayor. Yes, sir.
My name is Tim Bridges. I'm from the Fair Street Outreach Community Association. And my question would be to the commissioner. We have a playground that Councilman Welch and some of the community members, brand new playground, and we have a lot of young people. I would like to see more foot patrolmen in that area in the Western District and police interacting in that park with our young people.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I got my mission. I hear you loud and clear. Mo Robinson, do you have that down? We got it.
Thanks. The other issue that came up as we were going around the district today, Commissioner, was in the West Side Shopping Center, and my hope is that the district would be in more communication with the management there to include them on the patrols more often. They said that they've been having difficulty with people scrapping metal. They've taken copper, metal, carts and things like that. So they've been having problems, which also lends to their ability to keep employees because there was a few robberies there. So that would be one of the things I would need you to follow up on as well.
Yes, ma'am, that would be our focus. Major Hanley sees that and has been actually doing a number of arrests dealing with copper thefts and burglaries within the Southwest neighborhood. I know that firsthand because I've been out on patrol to see the officers making that impact, but we will follow up, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And now we're going to go to 311.
You can come on up, sir. Yeah, I'll give you my microphone. Would anyone like to? No, here we are.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jerome Mullen, citizens of District 9, Madam Mayor, Councilman Welch. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I had a very frank and direct conversation with the councilman's office, and they shared some of the concerns around 311. And so our presentation is going to be a little bit different. Rather than talk about specific achievements and so forth, what we're going to do is share how 311 works. So I brought with me the director of 311. Her name is Lisa Allen, and she's going to talk to you about 311 and how it works. And then, of course, we have our table in the back where we can answer any questions. We can look up service requests because we know that there are a lot of concerns about the process and the belief that the process doesn't really work. So we want to explain it a little bit for you. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Councilman Welch, and citizens of the 9th District. Again, my name is Lisa Allen. I'm the call center manager, director for the City of Baltimore. 311 is a very good tool for all the citizens of Baltimore, as well as we get a lot of calls from visitors. Everyone in Baltimore knows when they come to Baltimore to call 311 and even ask questions like, who are the Ravens playing today? What time does the game start? You would be surprised the questions we get and answer. However, we are there to be a liaison between you and the agency. We're there to work for the citizen. The process of close means close, as Madam Mayor talked about today, is a process that everybody has to be accountable for. When you call 311, it is a very good tool because at least we now have a record of your call. We categorize your call and we give you a service request number that belongs to you for the rest of your life, okay? So that service request number allows you to go on the web and check your status. It allows you to call us back and see what's going on. It also is a tool for the agencies to understand and hold themselves accountable if they have communicated a status on your service request that we give to you that is not correct. So when you call and we may say that something indicates that it's closed, if a part of the process still hasn't been finished, what we can do is we can put in a request for one of our supervisors to contact the agency and get back with you on understanding what piece of that process was not closed. So I'm going to make my presentation very short and the process very short, but when you call 311, the service request is then obtained by the agency. The agency completes the work and reports the status back to 311, which allows us to communicate the status to you. We're communicating what the agency has provided for us, but if something slips through the cracks or if something isn't completely done, we're also able to follow up with other agencies or whatever needs to be done to get back to you to make sure that's closed. So 311 is in the back as we attend a lot of community meetings. So if you have a specific question about a service request, you can feel free to go there, or you can call 311. We're there 16 hours a day, 365 days a year, including Christmas Day, and we'll be happy to answer your question. You can also put in a request over the web, and you can also check your request on the web, okay? So I appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you today, but know that that tool is a good partnership, and 311 is a liaison between you and the community and the agency. Okay.
Thank you, Lisa. We have Christian or Larry, if you have there's a question over here. Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Allen.
Hello.
I'd like to know, with the app, with the 3-1 app, and we do appreciate the system, but it's flawed. You have to admit that. There's many things that don't go addressed, and they sit there lingering. And when we're talking about chronic issues, we're talking about things that never get addressed, and they're still left open 6 months or longer. There's things on Baltimore Street, as you may have taken a little tour, that are blights that don't ever get resolved whatsoever. How do you even want to answer that? I mean, can you address this?
Yes, I will. We do have, I mentioned the web, and thank you for mentioning the app. So with your Android or smartphone, you can also do Spot 311. Those service requests follow the same path as if you would call. I know sometimes people feel more comfortable calling and speaking to people, but they follow the same path. The agency is able to pick up the service requests off of the system, complete the work, and communicate back. So if you have a specific area or service request, we can search it and find it, and then we can see what the status of that is, and we can work with you to get it closed. Okay, so we'll look at that specific example, and I'll partner with the agency that was assigned that service request, and then we can see how we can get it closed and done. Because remember, that's what we do. We take your call. We're here to help you. We're your eyes and ears and communication with the agency, so we can partner with them and help you to get that closed. So if you go to the back table, we'll look that specific service request up, and we can get that closed for you and taken it done.
And Ms. Allen, once you get that information, can you please make sure that I get it as well, so we can identify what the breakdown was that this has been unresolved? I don't know if you brought that information with you or any of your staff has the information of how many long-standing open SRs we have in this district, but it might, if we don't have it, it would be useful for me, and I know the councilman, to have that information. Yes. So we know if there are any things that are slipping through the cracks.
Yes, ma'am. We can get that for you. Yes.
All right, so I'm trying my best to keep us on schedule. We've had the 4 reports that have been given, and again, I want to thank the members of my cabinet who are here, and Gus is going to give us instructions on the breakout sessions. Again, the breakout sessions are your opportunity to talk directly to the agencies about concerns that you have. We also have the 311 service here as well. So if you want to try to track an SR, an existing SR, or you want to make a service request, they are here to do that as well. Again, I can't thank you enough. Pastor, thank you for hosting us, and I'm looking forward to us having some great breakout sessions. Thank you very much.
Make it work. We want you here. We want you going.
Part cleaning. Parts in 5 minutes. We all messed up here. So we had to have come off the strand and sustain.